for joining me as we wander through a game a long time coming. Final Fantasy III. It's gonna have a nice little prologue here for you to read through while I go over some things. Firstly, I hope that your eardrums aren't bleeding. This game is very loud until you load in and change a couple settings. I've deliberately reduced the loudness of the game, but I'm not sure it's enough. Let's turn it down a little more. Anyway, the game is a long time coming because I've actually played through and recorded it once already, and that was almost 2 years ago now, maybe even 2 years, and I was a little bit unhappy with how salty I got near the end, for reasons that you will discover as we go along. So I'm going to try and be a little more upbeat about this particular playthrough, and hopefully get us to a point where I can turn down the audio a little. It really is quite ridiculous at the entrance. I don't even have my headphones on at the moment. And this text is all auto-scrolling. Well, that first part was. I'm not going to read through the text this time. The text is fairly large and fairly legible, so I don't think it's particularly necessary. But here's Luneth, our first character. Now this is the Steam version of the game. It will be quite a bit different than what you see if you're playing the NES version. The opening is completely different, and I got 3 goblins this time. The opening encounter here, whenever you get into a battle, the amount of goblins you get into a fight with is overwhelming. I think I've seen it go from 3 to 1. But as you see there, not anyway, we're going to finish this fight out. Hopefully I can just get my headset on. Change the audio settings. Hopefully you guys can't hear the audio through my headset that's not currently on, because it really is that loud. And yes, those were monsters. And that's because this place is not particularly safe, though it's not overly dangerous either. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our configuration, go here, and we're going to drop this all the way down to there. It really is that loud of a game. And now that I've done that, I am going to move this slider back up, and there. Now the audio should be somewhat balanced, and I'll check to make sure it's not too quiet. That is a little quiet. Okay. Fast, I do want to turn Memorize on, and I want to default to running. Awesome. And we can continue on. Luneth, our freelancer. So Final Fantasy III was a pretty good game in theory, if not quite in implementation. Here we get a leather shield. Here I'll show it off, even though I don't think I'm ever going to actually use it. 2 defense, protects against some status ailments. I don't know which off the top of my head. Probably poison. Probably poison. There are random battles, and I'm going to show them off in this first cave. Beyond that, I'll probably be looking mostly at random battles we haven't seen before, and just filling in the bestiary as we go along. There is an achievement in this game for collecting every treasure, and I haven't actually earned that before. And we got a job level there. Job levels increase the amount of hits you can do, the potency of your magic, and things like that. We are using the old Final Fantasy MP system here, and I decided that this is in fact still too loud. I can't hear myself think. We are using the old the old magic system of Vancian style, I guess, instead of raw magic points, but it's not that big of a deal in this game. And yes, there is something strange about that rock, and yeah, like I said, it is on Steam, it is on the computer. I'm using an Xbox controller to control it, because why wouldn't I? Anyway, in the original game, you would actually start out with all 4 characters already in your party. For some reason, in this version of the game, you end up with just Luneth by himself. So this will up our attack to 10, but if we equip the knife as well, we get an overall attack of 18. Dual wielding is king in this game. I'm just going to say it. unless you have to use a shield, don't. Or I should say, it's not even that you use a shield, it's unless you have to use a two-handed weapon, you should always be dual wielding. There are 14 treasure chests in this dungeon. There is an achievement for getting them all. I don't have it yet. Hopefully I'll be able to acquire it during this playthrough. I'm going to try and show off all of the treasure chests at least. And don't worry too much about your health in this first section. It's not that difficult. You see there I missed with my primary hand. I only got one hit in instead of two. The nice thing about dual wielding is it doubles your chance to get hits, and hits are king in old Final Fantasy. Other than just increasing your raw damage output, obviously. Hopefully we'll hit level 2. Well, with this encounter rate, we'll probably hit level 2 before we meet the turtle. And yeah, I'm probably going to edit out random encounters in this game, though they're not particularly long. I'm still torn on that. I might just instead cut out grinding. There is some amount of job grinding I'm going to do, and I'll get over that when we get other jobs. Another job level. It doesn't take much to get the job levels up. I was really hoping not to get in another fight, but that's actually the last enemy in the area, the Wisp. I don't have a lot of comments on the actual enemies themselves because there's nothing special about them at this point. They don't put any status ailments on you or anything. I wonder if I'll actually die before I can get to the healing points. We'll see. Hopefully not. Anyway, yeah, if I might just cut out the grind and leave the random encounters in. As you can see, the random encounter rate in this game is fairly high in dungeons, which will come back to be a problem later. And here's our obligatory healing spring. There are not all that many of them in this game, but they give you one in the first dungeon because, well, you might suck. You might end up not succeed in the game and need to have a heal before a boss, or there will be a boss. Spoiler. But yeah, it's hard to die in this first dungeon. If you want to grind up to level 3 or level 4, it's not particularly difficult to do. Anyway, job levels, they increase the number of attacks you can deal, the number of hits you get, basically. So they're definitely worth getting. And then other abilities from the classes are derived from job level as well. I think this actually leads us to our boss. Anything I want to do before the boss? A quick save. Ooh, there's that audio. You can listen to it. We're gonna continue real quick. Anyway, that's how loud the audio is normally, but yeah, quick saving. This was originally a mobile game, if you couldn't tell, and the port was not particularly good. Anyway, let's go through this door. So you've now seen all the enemies in this particular area, and now for the obligatory boss fight for the opening dungeon. That is, well, let's see what that is. That is a giant turtle. Now, we do have a couple of items we picked up, the Antarctic Winds. They deal ice damage. Here's a hint. This guy, he's weak to ice. That being said, I don't feel any particular need to use that weakness against him. I would much rather just save the Antarctic Winds for another boss fight much later in the game, and instead, if I get a little low on hit points, I will use a potion. See, I missed a swing there. I haven't gotten lucky. I haven't gotten any crits yet, so I can almost guarantee. Oh, and he got a crit. Oh, that's bad luck. But so far, I seem to be going in before him, so we should be okay. Potions, as you see there, they heal 50 damage, like they tend to do in these older games. Please remember I have Memorized Cursor on. And he's just going to keep chewing on us. He's not a difficult fight. Just keep whittling away at him and he will die. If you are hard-pressed in this fight, you can use the Antarctic Winds. They do about 50 damage to him, so it does make this a little bit quicker, but there you go. Nothing particularly difficult with this boss. Anyway, job levels are gained by doing actions in combat, up to and including guard. This is exploitable in a few ways, which I will demonstrate much later. Anyway, as far as the job system goes, we'll be unlocking those a little bit into the game. Normally you would unlock them right here after you fight the land turtle. But, well, this game has decided to go a different direction with it. Oh look, we're the chosen one. I bet you it's a giant talking crystal. Is it a giant talking crystal? Land of Darkness? Okay, I'm not used to being the Warrior of Darkness, and we're actually not, by the way. That will come up later. Light and Dark has a big, well, should be a big thing in this game. It's really not. We're still kind of to the pre-plot point of the Final Fantasy era. More about the gameplay, less about the overall plot. And yeah, darkness is going to engulf the world, and light is gone, then horrible things will happen, all will return to the void, etc., etc., etc. We'll see this plot again in Final Fantasy V, sort of. Kind of directly, really. At least as far as the falling into the void part goes. And yeah, Final Fantasy III is basically a worse version of Final Fantasy V, which makes sense. Final Fantasy V came later, and the job system was much more refined there. But here we are. We've been teleported onto the overworld by the mysterious crystal, which has saved us from a grisly fate. And now we're suffering from ellipses syndrome. Yes, we're back on the surface. Now, I did mention that there were 14 treasure chests in that dungeon, and we did not open up 14 treasure chests, did we? No, we did not. So we're going to walk right back in here. Let's see here. Nothing this way. Those of you who were astute might recognize the first two rooms of that dungeon as bonus dungeons from the Final Fantasy I playthrough I did, the Cave of Ur. Oh, we got another longsword. Nice. Now we can dual wield them, which is excellent. Bronze bracers. Bronze bracers do not go on the head. The sleep, that's a spell, actually. So if we look here, we get the sleep spell. And to show you, we can use it. Now we can go to magic. Oh, cool. We can now use sleep. We have 2 castings of that, but we can remove it, and it goes back into our inventory. So one thing to keep in mind is that magic can be swapped around, which is useful in a job class game. And bronze knuckles. We'll get to the bronze knuckles in a little bit. Now, as far as the job class system in the game goes, here is the greatest weakness of this particular game. They want you to use certain jobs in certain situations. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't use the appropriate jobs, you are going to lose. There are several dungeons which melee characters are basically worthless because you're shrunk. There are dungeons, there's a boss fight, fairly infamous against a boss much later, which we'll cover when we get to it, where if you're not all a certain class, the fight is designed to just kill you. And you really don't have much of a chance of surviving. So there we go. We've managed to go ahead and grab those treasure chests, just to show you kind of where we're at. If we jumped down that pit, it would have taken us to the start of the game. Alright, so here we have a town. Let's go into a town. I'm going to talk to people, pop up their texts. If you want to read it, you can. I suggest pausing. I'm not going to linger on them very long. They don't say much that's all that important. Here we're finding out that there's a curse on Kazis. Which button is it? Oh, that's the world map button. That's the zoom in button. This is the zoom in button. This does something important, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Drinking wellspring water. Okay. Is wellspring water going to be super uncommon? Probably. How do you know we're leaving Ur? How do you all know this already? Anyway, opening up some treasure chests here. These do count towards your treasure allotment, so make sure you grab them if you're going for 100% treasures. And let's see if I can find them. By the way, I haven't played this game in over a year and a half, so please forgive me if I miss some ground sparklies or something. Here we have the inn. Here we have an item shop, so if you need items. By the way, I highly recommend that you pick up eye drops, antidotes, and status recovery items. They are actually fairly important in this version of the game. We're free to stay here if we want to. There's not really any reason to, but we could. And now we get to watch dance. For some reason. That music. The nice, free-to-use music that's long into the public domain. There you go. We've now watched her dance. Fantastic. And we can play the piano. Poorly. So this is another thing that's actually kind of brought back in Final Fantasy V, playing all the pianos of the world. Lots of booze. In this game, it does absolutely nothing. It takes some antidotes and eye drops. They're not kidding, by the way. Poison sucks. I just played a song on the piano. And that's our plot wall saying, hey, we can't get back to anywhere because, well, there's a big rock in the way. We'll have to deal with that. Head upstairs in the inn, talk to this fellow. He tells us about our jobs. How attributes work is that character level plus job class determines your attributes. Your job level does not matter for your attributes, just your character level and your job. Now, what does matter, and this is important, is if we go to our status and we look at our status, our vitality is a 5, which is pretty poor. Your level up hit points are determined by your current vitality. And so if you want to max out your hit points in this game, you are best off playing high vitality classes for the majority of the game. I will not be doing that. And here's some people teasing our friend. He is our friend. You can tell by his extraordinary outfit and the fact that he just got a naming screen. This is Ark. The characters, sadly, are fairly interchangeable. It's a class job system, so they're not going to be defined by their iconic jobs or anything like you'll see in some of the later games. And because we're pretty early on in the story side of the games, and they've improved the story a bit for this release of the game, don't expect it too horribly much. And I swear there's, yep, there. So when you zoom in, you can see sparkly spots, and you can find, in that case, we found a potion. And I think that's the only thing out here. And so those are kind of littered about all over the place. Armor shop and weapon shop, we don't really need to bother with that. And these are just giving us some advice. Magic shop, so we could buy Poisona. I'm not going to bother yet. We don't even have a white mage yet, and you don't really need Poisona at this point in the game. Oops, walked out of town. Didn't particularly mean to do that. Anyway, armor and weapons and stuff. We'll deal with armor and weapons a little bit later, but honestly, we're not going to need this particular shop. Ah, yes, there are monsters on the way to the storehouse up here, which is unfortunate, but not particularly dangerous, honestly. We'll see if we can actually get into a fight. Sometimes I make the entire path and don't get into a fight. Potion here. Oh, we got into a battle. Goblins. Right. Well, you guys are dead. Let's see, what else is kind of important to go over? Sparklies, treasure chests. I will not be doing the optional boss for this game. I'll tell you all that right up front. The reason for that is to fight him, you have to be very high level, and grinding is not particularly fun in this game. Sorry if that disappoints anyone. This guy's actually going to tell us about sparkly spots. Yep. Switches and such. Look closely to find them. Take a look at that candle, for example. If you zoom in close enough and it will zoom in for us, it will start to sparkle. Hey, hey, look, the candle can open a secret passage. Fantastic. These sparkly spots actually don't show up in all that many places later on in the game, which is kind of nice, really, because I kind of hate having to hunt them down. And here, if we zoom in, you can see that they're sparkles, but you don't have to be zoomed in to interact with them. You can just pick them up. Same with the candle there. Opened us a secret passage. As far as I know, the sparkle spots don't count towards your treasure completion, so don't let that worry you overly much. All of these do, though, so make sure you grab them. A longsword, very nice. Eye drops. Cure spell, I'll definitely take the cure spell. A dagger, and a phoenix down. So this is kind of the reason why you don't really have to look at the item shop or the weapons and armor shop at this point in the game, because, well, frankly, it's not that hard to get a full set of armor weapons. We're gonna get another fight. You can encounter werewolves here, which we haven't done yet. And, well, there you go. So our friend ran off somewhere, but I guess we should probably talk to people who know about the plot. So hey, plot dump area. This is Elder Dawn. This fully heals our HP and MP. And this one brings people back to life. You won't see those very often. Any sparklies in here? No, of course not. So this is Nina. She's kind of our tutorial person. I think also supposed to be like a motherly figure to us. Yeah, our mother, yes. Yeah, and sorry, I spoiled it. She's not our birth mother. So, there you go. This is Topapa. And, he knows about the crystal and all that kind of stuff, so obviously he knew something important about us before he told us. What a horrible person, hiding that kind of secret destiny from us. Oh, a traveler came carrying a newborn child. We'll find out about that more later. Yep, and I was in his arms. And destined even as a newborn. Gasp. Alright, here we go. I'm pretty sure that was just a plot trigger. That being said, we should probably figure out where our supposedly not a coward friend ran off to. How about the only other place we can really get to? Now, if memory serves... Is there something over here? No. Okay. Hey there, Ark. How you doing, buddy? Totally not a coward. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to read the text on this one because it moves slow enough across the screen that most people should be able to read it, and if not, like I said, you could pause. I won't power speed through the text like I would normally do. Anyway, the plot isn't particularly important on this game. So we got our second party member, which is nice. He's equipped with a knife. Now he's equipped with long swords. And that's basically it. Alright, I don't think we can encounter any monsters here. But we also can't encounter any people. As you can see, the town has seen better days. Anyway, the entire town's like that, so... Here we have another restorative pool. So, in case you need it, keep in mind that it's there. The inn. Only the power of Mithril can banish the Jinn. So, he cursed this town because, well, this is where Mithril is mined. Ah, look, a bright flash of light. We need to talk to this fellow. Ah, you're from Canaan? Canaan? I'm going to say Canaan. And the Nell Valley is blocked. So, there you go. Yes, we have to do something to help these people. Sure, if I had an airship, I could do lots of stuff. We don't have a mithril ring. And the smith can't make it, but his daughter and apprentice has gone missing, so we need to go find the daughter to try and lift the curse. Yeah, I got that. I figured out how to do that. I am fast forwarding through their text because their text actually isn't all that important. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. Not that it really matters. Here's a smith shop. Ah, found a potion. Yay, potion. It's annoying that you kind of have to zoom in to look for hidden items and such because, well, frankly, it's kind of hard to play the game like that, you know? Anyway, we could go back into there. That's the mithril mine. I don't recommend it. Not yet. The reason for that is that you can encounter enemies there and it's difficult to fight them. I'm gonna go wander around here a bit looking for some creatures. No, I'm not going to wander around filling out the bestiary quite yet. I'm going to wait a second. Let's go to the desert here. And, oh, we found Sid's airship. And we found a girl. Yes, that is a girl, I assure you. Tomboy that she may be. So this is Refia. And yeah. So this is the blacksmith's daughter, and she will be joining us in our adventure, if you couldn't tell by the fact that we had to name her. And she doesn't want to be a blacksmith, so there you go. Ah, but she knows where we can get a ring. Ah, so we could get one from the king. Fair enough. Well, with this airship, we can probably manage to pull that off. They're not the nicest bunch, though, honestly. They're, at least they try to put a little bit of humor in there. And here we go. We now have an airship. This airship is a very limited airship. It cannot go over mountains at all. It can't even go over a pile of rocks. So it's a really low altitude airship. Now we could go in here if we want to die. But I think the first thing we'll do is we'll stop by Sazune Castle and see if we can't get a mithril ring. A person! Uh-huh. Yep. Terrell Curse. You're a horrible knight. I don't think anyone would ever want you anywhere near them. Certainly not me. I definitely don't want your help in any way, shape, or form, and if you offer to join me, I would steadfastly have to refuse. Do open the gate for us, though, yes. Good. Good. You do just that. You arrange a nice meeting for us, if you would. Anyway, if we go over here, there's tower. This leads to the ramparts. There's really no reason to go up there. By the way, in Ur there were 8 chests, just so you know, and there are 14 chests here. This is the east tower. This tower is safe to walk up. The west tower is not. We'll deal with the west tower in a minute. But 2 of our 14 chests are here. We get holy arrows and wooden arrows. Just to demonstrate here, they are in limited supply. So you do use ammo when you use a bow. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Anything special in here? No. Potion. And wooden arrows. Oh, and a hidden chest back here with a bow. Bows are kind of great, actually. I'm not going to equip it on Refia. I'm going to give Refia the bronze knuckles and the knife, or the dagger, sure. There we go. That'll do some pretty decent damage. I will equip somebody with that bow in a bit. You can switch equipment in combat. I'll show that off when it becomes a little bit more relevant. And we'll head around this way. I'm definitely keeping all the battles in for this one because I had some things to explain, stuff to talk about, as it were. So we could rest here. We're not going to. Yes, of course. You'd go and defeat Jin himself. Yourself, yep. There is a UI overhaul mod for this. I might put it into place. Can't go that way. Can go this way. So that broken part of the wall there did in fact represent a broken wall. Go figure. Ah, that's where we get over here. Like, I could swear we could get over here. Let's go before. Head back here. A leather shield that I'll never use. A blizzard spell that I will probably use at some point. And another bronze knuckle. Fantastic. So the funny part is I'm giving these weapons out to these characters, and they're really not going to keep them all that long. You should, by the way, endeavor to keep as many characters in the back row as possible in this game. The enemies are pretty brutal, actually. It's not the easiest game. 1,000 gil, I'll take it. Another 1,000 gil, I'll definitely take that. And down here, this particular room has no real purpose. We'll see it again later in a cutscene, but there you go. It exists, and now you know about it. Alright, up another floor. And see, if you didn't know that they were there, you could kind of go, oh, there should be a way to get over to those chests. Bane of all Undead stored atop the western tower. Well, we should go get that, I think. That sounds like a fantastic thing to get our hands on, to say the least. Yep, King's Curse just like everybody else. I'm not entirely certain where he was to avoid the curse, but whatever, not a big deal. Oh, his daughter's missing. Is her name Sarah? I bet her name is Sarah. It is Sarah. What do you know? Another Princess Sarah. That's all right. We can handle that. Yep. You're going to accompany us. Ingus. It's a fitting name. Just put a D out in front of it. It'll be fine. Nah, he's a fine fellow. His sword, by the way, is not worth twice ours. He's not really any better than us at all. And, yeah. He's actually not going to see a lot of overall combat use after this prologue section. The prologue is not particularly long, thankfully. Alright, so we've got Ingus now, who I'm going to give a bow, and I'm going to give the wooden arrows. Fantastic. And then we're going to go here, put him in the back row. The reason why it's important to know that you can swap equipment in battle is it lets you swap arrow types, which is important for certain classes later in the game. Elemental weaknesses are definitely worth exploiting, as are species-based weaknesses, but we have not gotten all the treasure quite yet, have we? Let's see, we've gotten some of it. Not even most of it yet. Oh, don't get caught up on a wall, I don't need too many random battles. Couple new enemies here, Red Wisp and Dark Eye. And honestly, there's no real point in, using strategy with this fight. Just whack them a bit. As you can see, these enemies in this tower are a little bit tougher than the stuff we've been fighting so far. And yeah, Luneth there didn't do a whole lot of damage, but that's all right. I suppose, compared to Refia, who's got those really nice bronze gauntlets, that's not too surprising. Good XP, though. Wooden arrows. And holy arrows. We should find at least one more set of holy arrows in here. Here we've got some zombies. I could use the holy arrows on these enemies in here. They're all basically undead, which means they're weak to fire and weak to holy. I am not doing that because the next dungeon we go to is actually going to have a lot of undead in it as well, and I would much rather have it for that much longer dungeon. This is kind of a bonus dungeon. You don't need to go to this dungeon, but since levels are nice to have, we might as well. I can't remember if anything in this tower does anything particularly special. We'll be able to check the bestiary later. And the encounter rate is already being quite ridiculous. Let's see, anything else to talk about? We got the bronze knuckles, we got the gill, we got the shield, we got the blizzard spell, the phoenix down, the bow, the potion. So all we've really got left is the white slayer. Oh, blind. So this is why you want to occasionally carry eye drops. We got lucky and it missed. Which does remind me, I should go purchase 10 eye drops and 10 antidotes, just in case. I can't remember if anything in this tower poisons, but I wouldn't put it past the game. Job level up. Yeah, they're nice to get. I don't really care about them leveling their freelancer jobs. It's not that important. It's not a very good job class. Let's take a look here. So we got the Red Wisp, we got the Dark Eye, the Zombie. There are a... That's it actually for this dungeon. So we're at the top of the tower. Oops. Didn't really mean to get in an extra battle, but yeah, anyway, we're at the top of the tower here. So in that chest is probably the White Slayer. And I'm sure nothing horrible is going to happen to us when we open the chest. Before we open the chest, though, I'm going to make a couple of adjustments to the characters here, because, one, I kind of like to heal, and two, well, mostly just I'd like to heal. So, what we're going to do, once this battle is over with... Oh, another level. Hey, I'll take that, too. Makes this next fight... Oh, and there is going to be a fight. A little bit easier. So why don't we do this? Let's put Blizzard on Arc, Sleep on Luneth. I'm going to give Cure to Refia. I'm not going to leave it on her. That actually lets you exchange all of your magic over. I'm going to put it on... Ingus, he's got the most MP, which is nice, mostly because he's rested. It contains the White Slayer, but it's a trap. So, one thing to note is, we have the White Slayer. It was given to us immediately, so we can equip it, which is nice. I want to try and put him to sleep this round, just because, but I'm mostly just gonna, you know, pummel him with magic. Good damage. If sleep works, great. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Ow, 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 ow. It's actually better, by the way, that he spreads out that damage. Single target spells in this game are nasty, and I missed. So I'm not going to bother continuing to do that. I am going to keep blizzarding, though. I'm actually going to cure right away. I honestly don't remember how badly he can hurt single target, and I'd rather not risk it. Ah, he's dead. Fantastic. Not a difficult fight, obviously, overall, but, you know. Alright. That fight's over and done with. Just to make our way out. Oops. And memory cursor does, you know, obviously follow through between battles. I'm going to show you why it's nice to have memory cursor turned on later. As you can see there, that White Slayer is going to do us a lot of good. Bane to undead, as one would expect from its name, and also its description from the people in the castle. How are we doing for time? We've got a bit of time to work with here. I don't think there's a... Well, okay, here, we can do this. Say, I don't think there's a healing spot here, but let's go ahead. Run up here. And yes, it would have been faster to rest in a different bed, but this is the princess's bed, so we're going to rest in the princess's bed. I think you actually can get a line of dialogue from the kids in the original NES version of the game. I believe also in the original NES version of the game, you're like 6 or 8. In this one, you seem to definitely be like teenagers, probably 16. I don't know. I think it's implied that Ingus is a little bit older than the rest of the group, but it's really neither here nor there. Alright, so our next goal is to head over to the sealed cave up there. However, really quickly, there are some enemies we haven't encountered yet, and I believe I can encounter them in this forest. So we're going to take a quick ride around. See if we can't find them. Goblin. Goblin. You're not the person we want. I mean, not for this. We're going to eventually want to encounter goblins, but we'll get into why later when we have some jobs. We don't have any jobs right now. Ah, werewolf. Nice. Ooh, 14 damage. That's actually pretty decent. And now you're dead. Let's see here. So we need to find a killer bee and a berserker. And that'll get us all caught up on our bestiary. There are missable beasts. I don't know why the encounter rate's so low in the forest. Oh, there's the wasp. Now we just have to find the berserker. Flying enemies are weak to bows, as you can see by the massive damage he just did. Keep it in mind for a dungeon coming up in the relatively near future. Hey, another level for Ingus. So this is basically how I grind levels in this game, is by trying to fill out the bestiary. Can we find a berserker? I might go to the desert and see if I can find one there. I think I might have more luck. The enemies can be a little bit difficult to find, unfortunately. Just wanted to make sure I had actually grabbed all the arrows. I'm gonna walk over here. Goblin. I'll try a couple more fights. These aren't too long. And if I don't find it on screen, I'll find it for the start of next session. For those of you who are impatient, if you're playing along, berserkers pop up in this general area in the forest or in the plains. I'm not sure how much it actually matters. Hi, werewolf. You're not very useful. I don't remember having this much trouble finding the berserker last time. They're not that uncommon. Yeah, let's head over to the desert and just try to run a little bit. If not, this is the last one I'll try and grab. Double werewolf. This is probably the best place. I think the desert has the highest encounter rate, and it gives you the largest enemy packs. So anyway, we'll beat them up, and then we'll head on to the dungeon. Yeah, I want to go this way because I do want to grab a quick heal. This is going to be a little bit long. I'm going to try and... I'm not trying to time the videos for this particular session. I just kind of want to get to certain points in each video. I don't want to buy potions. I want to buy... By the way, there's a bulk discount. So you see 10 costs 368, and a single one costs 40, so you get a bulk discount. I'm not that worried about it. 5 of each of those should be fine. And I'm okay with the equipment I've got. So let's get back to our airship. We're gonna get through the sealed cave today. At least that's my goal, to get through the sealed cave today. Before we go in there, I am going to drop a save. Alright, the sealed cave. We've got a few enemies we're going to be looking for here. And we've got 5 treasures. Take a look around the room. I'm also trying to get the bestiary filled out, so I kind of wander a little bit. Ah, treasure chest. Potion! Fantastic. Always like to see a potion. Ah, there's enemy number 1. Mummies! And I am going to equip all arrows. Because would you believe they're fairly effective against the mummies? Unfortunately, bows in general aren't very effective, but... Whew, ouch! That did over half of my hit points in a single shot, and this is why you stay in the back row. If at all possible. Ooh, a high potion. Very nice. I'm actually going to cure up, just because I don't want to die in one hit. What's this way? Oop, skeleton. There's another enemy we're looking for. Mummies, I want to say, can do darkness? Oh, confusion, sorry. My bad. Ow. So, there you go. Mummies inflict confusion with their normal attacks. That's, painful, actually. Rather painful. Yes, I'm using a lot of his MP. That's the way forward. We're not going to go that way quite yet. We've got treasure chests we've missed. Ah, floating coins. These are actually rather annoying to find, so I'm kind of... Cursed copper, there we go. They're actually kind of annoying to find, so I'm kind of glad we ran into them. They're not overly dangerous when you crit them like that. Worth a lot of gil, though, aren't they? Oh, that reminds me. Oh, cure. I'm going to go ahead and... Oops. Not really what I want to do. You give that to Refia. That reminds me. Oh, hello. Actually, no, I'll do that after this part. You can get some nicer weapons to come in here with by going into the mithril mines right now, but I'm not going to. You're not really intended to have them at this point, I don't believe, so we're not going to do that. We'll just continue on. More skeletons. I think we've seen all the enemies that can spawn on this first floor here. Not that I'm going to complain about the XP. So let's see, mummies, skeletons. Oh no, there's a couple of different enemies we still haven't encountered yet. Oh wait, no. No. The last ones are in the later rooms. Hey, just get a level. I'm not overly worried about my MP. We'll see why here in just a minute. Here's chest 3 of 5, 500 gil. Take it. And there's a suspicious skeleton. Or skeleton. Skull. And that opens this passageway. Fantastic. And hey, that looks like a princessy type person, doesn't it? So here we are, here's Princess Sarah. Princess Sarah is the first of many, and I do mean many, guest characters. Unlike in Final Fantasy II, where your guest character was your fourth party member for the entire game, the fifth party member here is computer controlled, and they do what they want to in battle, but they're helpful. They can cast beneficial spells on you, or attack, or cast spells on the enemy. We'll see quite a few of them in the game. They don't tend to last very long, kind of like Final Fantasy II, actually. Press C whenever you want to speak to Princess Sarah. Is this the C button? This is the C button. I'll try and remember to do these. Refi is already jealous. Anyway, you don't have to talk to your party members. I can't remember all what they say. Yeah. And unfortunately, once you've started the conversation, you're stuck in it. So that's about as much I'm going to do with that. Trying to remember which way we're supposed to go. We're just not. Oh, shadows. So another enemy down here that we were missing. Ah, and this is what Sarah does. She will cast Cure. On the entire party. She is very useful to have, and these shadows are super weak to holy arrows. Which is nice. And Refia just destroys things with those fist weapons. It's quite nice to have. Ah, character levels. Fantastic. More hit points. Job level increases. I will take them. Oh, an Antarctic wind. That may or may not be useful in the near future. Ah, here we go. Larvas. This was the... not quite the last enemy we were looking for, but the last common enemy. There are rare spawns that are really annoying to find. I'll do my best. I mean, you'll get to see me try and find them. In this case, because we're in the middle of this dungeon and I don't really want to leave, we're going to find it here before we go anywhere. Trying to remember which way leads to the boss and which way doesn't. I don't really want to counter the boss yet. We can always come back here later and pick up the rear enemy. Actually, honestly, that's probably what I'll do. I don't think I'm under leveled for the fight. I am kind of hoping that Princess Sarah is going to get involved and heal me. That would be nice. Let's see, eye drops. I think that's our last treasure. It is. So if we go this way far enough, we'll encounter the boss. Not the special monster. It's alright though. The rear enemy for this dungeon can only be found here on the 3rd floor. I think I am going to try and hunt for it a little bit. The rare monsters generally aren't super rare. I think this is the boss. Oh, actually, here they are. I don't have to hunt for them. Revenants! I don't remember what these do. I think shadows, by the way, can blind you when a hit. Ow. Well, that was painful. Well, that wasn't too bad, because back row. Back row is significant increase in survivability in this game. So do keep that in mind. I'll take a job level increase. I will also definitely be healing. Okay. Well, here we have it. If you want to find more enemies or something, you can actually see him and still manage to not trigger the encounter and all that. Alright, yes, Jijin, prepare to meet your doom. Mithril ring. Who wants to bet whether this is going to work or not? Hint, it's not going to work. Yeah, Dijin's more powerful because he's got the power of darkness. Alright, so we're going to have him attack. We are going to use Blizzard because would you bet that Dijin is weak to... Holy arrows are technically more powerful than wooden arrows, so I'm going to keep using them. I was really hoping Princess Sarah was going to pop out with a protect or something. But this guy's going to survive like 2 rounds because that's what Blizzard does to his face. A single target magic hurts. And he just crit. So you're going to Blizzard. You're going to attack. And I'm going to hope I get a Phoenix down off before the end of this fight. So yeah, this game can be a little unfair. It does things like that. Where there was literally... There was nothing I could have done to survive that fight. That blow. That's, yeah. There you go. This is, there's reasons I don't particularly care for this particular, I'm going to take a risk and see if I can get him on his feet. Phoenix Downs, by the way, are a limited resource. There is no way to get more, as far as I know in the game. You get a particular amount and that's it. So yes, I'm basically wasting Phoenix Downs here by doing this. And I went out of order. Turn order is difficult to pin down. And of course I went before the Jin. I would have really preferred to have gone after the Jin. Well, I'm out of Phoenix Downs now, and yeah, this is... Like I said, I'm going to try and not be salty, but it's really hard not to be salty with this game. I actually should have had him cure and have her attack, because she does more damage. But this fight could go trivially easy or trivially difficult. It depends on what he does. If all he does is spam multi-target fire, this fight is really easy. If he crits you, you die. Weak to Blizzard, nothing too difficult here. As long as you went and picked up the treasures and stuff. So the main character to be a little bit behind for where he was for XP, but it doesn't matter that much. The boss isn't worth that much. Yes, you cannot escape the ring's power now. Yay! No! And we're teleported away. Yeah, we'll probably be fine. What's a lone white mage to do in a cave full of undead? Probably quite well, actually. She has an infinite supply of cure magic. I don't think that cave really poses her much of a threat. I think we're back with the crystal. We are back with the crystal. Excellent. You're still looking a little transparent there, Luneth. I summoned you. Right. Oh, your transparency went away. So now we're going to get a speech from the crystal here about jobs and all that kind of stuff. Yep, we are the Warriors of Light. Woohoo! We're not the Warriors of Darkness. Actually, the Warriors of Darkness are kind of stand-up guys, but we'll get to that later. Yes. We are destined to take the light and go to the crystals and learn things and stuff. Hey, look, unskippable cutscene. No, really, this is unskippable and auto-scrolling. We're going to watch this through to its conclusion, and the job classes will be given to us, but that will probably be where I call this a particular set. Right, it's not only unskippable, it's credits. They make you sit through the credits right here. You can't skip them. You can't fast forward them. So I'm going to talk over them, even though that this is one of my favorite musical tracks of all the Final Fantasy games. I really like the Crystal theme. I think this is the Crystal theme. This might be the Prelude theme. I think this might be Prelude. Either way, love this particular theme. Absolutely look forward to every game I play in the series. Are we almost done? I mean, you've got a Powered by Matrix. No, main planners. Okay. Yep, we're going to have this long credit sequence. Want to bet they're still going to have credits at the end of the game? I bet you they will. If we get to the end of the game. The final dungeon of this game is an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Can't stand it. There were some very big design flaws in this game, especially as it was originally released. It's a little bit better in this release. But yeah, it's going to be a fun ride. Several of the balance issues of the game were not fixed, so we'll get to that when we get to it. Garuda. But yeah, the first part of the game actually isn't that bad, though. There's a lot of DPS checks and composition checks in the first part of the game, which can cause some problems. We'll get to that when we get to it. Some gimmicky boss fights. This game loves its gimmicky boss fights. Hey, we've been blessed with the crystal's light. Fantastic. Great for us. What does that actually mean? Alright, I'll go step on the circle. Get used to these circles. They appear in a lot of dungeons. Hi, Mog. Yay. Basically what he's saying is you have to use the job a certain number of times before you get your stats back. Basically you get a negative to all your stats for a certain amount of time. I think usually it's 10 fights. Oops. Right behind you. I'm going to head out of here. Someplace I can save. I'll show you. This is going to just drop us right where it did last time, basically. So anyway, here we are. We're in front of Ur, and I think that is where I'm going to call it part. So next time, I will meet you with a Berserker fight, so we can finish out that part of the bestiary, and then we'll move on with the game a little bit. So until our paths cross again, have fun and stay safe, everyone.